Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I am your host, Liz, as always. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Marcus. Yay, Marcus. Yay. The crowd goes wild. Woo!
Happy St. Patty's.
I'm drinking gin.
Wow. You're the Irish in the apartment.
I know. So I'm allowed to drink gin.
Drinking Scottish gin too.
Consider that. Listen.
I'm the Scottish one here. We've got our things reversed.
The thing is that like beer always makes my stomach hurt, and I've had enough of that for one 24-hour span of time.
Got of whiskey.
Oh, I'd rather cut my own tongue off.
All right.
Also, welcome to the Pinfall Podcast, my brand new shirt.
Woo!
Woo! And my brand new vaccination. Can you see it?
You can see the edges of it.
Vaccination!
Oh, dose number 1.
I thought it was lower than that.
First dose. The first dose.
Dose number 1. My arm was... I woke up, I felt like my arm was broken. But it feels fine now. Feels like a little weird. But significant difference throughout the day.
So we had NXT today. And
we did.
This was a massive episode because you had Finn Balor teaming up with Karrion Kross. You had LA Knight's debut match. You had Walter coming to NXT North America. You had
Hero.
Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly getting arrested. And you had Jordan Devlin arriving to NXT as well. It's basically everything, I think. All the big stuff.
Right, I zoned out for a whole second there.
It was like a big episode, but like it's mostly setup, you know? Like it's big setup.
Yeah, but I know that NXT is dealing with a massive COVID outbreak. And they've dealt with this a couple times before. I genuinely... Excuse me, I knew it was going to happen too. I was trying to fight it off. I didn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were people that were missing, but like I wasn't missing anybody. Except for Tim
Right.
Thatcher, but that's just on a daily. And Malcolm Bivens and Tyler. But that's also, at this point, somewhat regular.
At least we have Malcolm Bivens on Twitter. We don't have Thatcher on Twitter. We now have Seth Rollins on Twitter again.
I know, he's back. Thank God, I guess.
Thank God? No.
That beard... That beard of his keeps getting bushier and bushier. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Also, when I was pointing at myself earlier before we started the podcast, you did realize that meant I was asking you if my hair looked good, right?
Yes. That's why I said it looked good.
Okay. Okay, because then you started counting down, and I was like, well, I didn't say I was ready, but okay.
Oh, you gave me a thumbs up.
I went like this, as in like this. But, I mean, you started counting down at 5 minutes, and I was like,
well,
I didn't have that much else to do.
The biggest pop of the episode was definitely Walter coming back.
Dude, Walter came back, and I felt my soul revive. There's something about that big baby man that, like, I don't know. I'm kind of into him.
Yeah. Walter chops.
I think it's because he scares me.
Walter chops are a very, like, once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, once you experience a Walter chop, your life will change forever.
Oh, I'm sure that, like, if he ever chopped me, I'd probably be like, thanks.
Even just seeing them. Like, watching him chop someone, it changes you. You suddenly realize that your life is so much better than the person he's chopping.
Yeah, it does give you like a little bit of thankfulness for like who you are as a person. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we really didn't watch too much Walter stuff until we started watching NXT UK. And that was like, we started watching that after the Ilya Walter fight, and I remember watching it the first time being like, huh?
I know the first thing I watched with Walter was when he was in Survivor Series. 2019,
I don't remember
think.
that.
It was like the one Survivor Series where they had NXT as well.
Right, because they were setting up for, or rather, they set up for that with a Seth Rollins fight, I think. Seth Rollins fighting Walter. That was in November. I don't really know. But I know Seth Rollins fought Walter in November 2019.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think that's Survivor Series.
Yeah, Survivor Series is
I always
November.
get Survivor Series and SummerSlam mixed up. I always get the two of them mixed up in my head, so I'm just like, Survivor Series is summer.
I can tell you for sure SummerSlam is not November. I can tell you that certainty.
No shit. But yeah, I mean, there was a part of me that was like, well, like, I kind of thought Tim was gonna come out during the Tomaso fight and be like, hey, I'm not injured. What are you fucking doing?
I thought Thatcher was gonna come out during the Imperium March. That would have been like game changing.
Dude, imagine if he came out with the Imperium March and he and Walter just stood there with like their little thing. I would have been feral. I would have lost it. You wouldn't have seen me. I would have gone over the fucking moon and come back down somewhere else, not in this state.
So do you want to get into the news?
Yeah, sure.
Now that we're 25 minutes into the podcast.
Blah, 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 blah. So the news.
Been a slow news day. 2 days.
Hard to have news when when one roster of a major brand is infected with COVID.
Which is news.
It is news. There's an update, which I don't really think the update is much of anything. But apparently Dave Meltzer confirmed that the outbreak was only impacting NXT. Impact. Funny. And basically they said that they were rewriting the show, which kudos to them. They rewrote the show amazingly.
Yeah, if only they could, protect their roster and actually enforce some kind of guidelines.
It's almost like they're like, well, if you get COVID, doesn't matter. We're still gonna have a bomb ass fucking show. So
yeah. If only they had a ref that didn't go out maskless and raid politicians' places.
We never even talked about that, did we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so that was a weird noise. Like someone fell down the stairs.
It was Pete.
Anyways. Don't say that. My poor kitty.
There's no stairs for her to fall down.
Maybe she like opened the door and like snuck out and then went whoop.
She opened the door.
Never seen these before. But yeah, so Drake Wirtz.
Who?
Last name always makes me just like want to like apparently decided to team up with two other people from Save Our Children to march into the local police station, I think, or was it like town hall? Maskless to test their mandate for masks and demand that they give more attention to these children that are being slaughtered, I guess.
It's the whole Pizzagate thing.
Yeah.
It's more so children being sexually abused than slaughtered.
Well, so all I know, the only reason I say the word slaughter is because one of the people that did it, one of the women, I think it was Drake Wirtz and two women.
Probably.
She specifically used the term slaughter.
Yeah, but they're crazy.
Right. Not to give it any weight, but I'm just saying she used that word and therefore I will use that word. So funny enough, Drake Wirtz not reffing any of the matches tonight. Probably because he has COVID, but I really hope that Tim doesn't have COVID on his birthday though. That would probably eat ass.
I'm sure he's just like the Garganos and Kyle. Just
But he had a match tonight.
Kyle?
That's the confusing part.
Oh, Thatcher.
No. Thatcher technically had a match tonight. They rewrote that, so that's why I assume he's out.
I mean, yeah,
With
I'm sure Cameron Grimes was supposed to do something too, but he was gone. There are a lot of people were supposed to do something. You mind? We're trying to have a podcast.
I'm so sorry, sir. Where am I?
You're in the DMV.
Nightmares. But yeah, I mean, we don't really have any details on that because we completely forgot to talk about it because Mark and I found out about it separately after the podcast. And basically, if it's not news that I see while scrolling through like an hour before the show starts, I don't mention it. But, you know, your annual, bi-monthly, whatever you want to call it, reminder that Drake Wirtz is a fucking freak and should probably just be castrated and thrown into a
Bi-weekly.
ditch somewhere. Well, he only gets around so often. He's got other commitments, you know.
Yeah, but we still mention it other days.
We haven't talked about him that often recently. He's really flown under the radar. Mostly because at this point now, I completely forget that he's reffing matches. Like, I'll be like halfway through a match and I'll be like, oh.
Yep.
Anywho, there's also an update about Andrade.
Oh, really?
That was pretty sick rolling on my arms. Nothing really special. Really just a status update. As far as everyone knows, he requested release last Monday. Request was denied, and at this point, he still has not had any update. His Twitter has not changed from being totally non-WWE. So it's an update, but it's not an update. It's just a reminder, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what should I do next? Hall of Fame, WrestleMania, Charlie Caruso, or people. Let's do people returning. Just because it's less interesting.
Well, you just listed off all of your news, so.
Nah, I got stuff to say. A lot of people want to return, like a lot of legends. Specifically, is it X-Pac or X-Pac?
X-Pac.
All right, so X-Pac is looking to return. Nobody said in what like capacity and where, but he wants to return to the ring. Doug Williams, after being, retired because of neck injuries, wants to return to the ring. And controversial superstar from fucking how have I already forgotten the name of the what's the name of their tag team?
It began with a B. Brody? Bro.
No, I'm not talking about his name.
His tag team?
Yeah, he was in a tag team with someone else, and he and Naomi and Candice, I think her name is. DAC. They were kind of all together. Because it was the Funkadactyls and somebody else, like the other team.
The Mighty?
Is that it? Let's see.
The Mighty, the B team.
No, those were two white men.
I don't know.
Anywho, while I look this up, he Brodus Clay is looking to return.
Yikes.
Oh, so he was in the Funkadactyls as well. Very confusing. It's mostly my fault though. But anyways, so Brodus Clay, or Tyrus, is looking to make a return to wrestling, and by doing so, he's going to be fighting in a match at NDIP. Fuck me.
Yep.
He's going to be fighting in a match for NWA. Some people aren't so sure how they feel about him coming back because he's kind of got some views.
I mean, yeah, he's been on the Great Gutfeld show since 2015, and the Great Gutfeld show is an intensely aggressive, conservative talk show.
I have never heard of that. But
I didn't
Gutfield
either.
sounds horrible.
I only heard of it a couple years ago.
Okay, so Tyrus was the Funkasaurus, and the Funkadactyls were Naomi and Cameron, not Candace. Sorry.
Cameron?
All of my knowledge of that era, for the most part, besides 2016, comes from Total Divas.
Who's Cameron?
She was just the other girl in the Funkadactyls. She is not wrestling anymore. I think she's a model now.
Okay.
I don't know. She hasn't done shit recently. But yeah. So those are some people trying to return. Speaking of returning, some people are leaving. Maybe. Who knows? It's sort of a toss-up. So Charlie Caruso got into some trouble. Apparently, Charlie Caruso got in trouble, I think this past Raw. Because I guess she's been not just late to one interview at Raw, she's been consistently late to conduct interviews.
That's not confirmed.
It's according to Fightful Select's report.
Okay.
And Vince found out, and now she's actually been pulled from TV for the most part, it seems, besides Raw Talk.
The problem wasn't even her being late, it was that she's been getting heat with other wrestlers.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Probably because, you know,
I haven't seen any of that.
Her being late. Well, yeah, in Sean Ross Sapp's tweet, he says heat with other wrestlers. Like being late to interviews, delays, training, stuff like that, waste their time.
Damn. Well, also her contract is up soon, so there's a lot of reports that maybe Charlie Caruso's going the way of Kathy Kelly and Renee Paquette. Why did I say Renee Paquette like that?
I don't know.
Renee. Which would kind of suck. I like Charlie.
I like Charlie too.
I enjoy her.
But I mean, it does say a lot when she's been like missing from TV and like nobody notices.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's like not the thing that you're really supposed to know. It's like when you're an interviewer, no one's like there for you. You know?
Yeah.
So let's talk about WWE ticket sales for WrestleMania. Originally they were looking to do about 75% capacity with
45,000.
45,000 tickets. And they basically just halved that.
25,000.
Thank you, numbers man. Yeah, so apparently they are now going for what percentage capacity is that? Like
36.
30? Wow, you really are good with the numbers.
I remembered all of this when I read it.
Thank you. They are now down to 36% capacity, which is totally not shocking considering half of NXT is sidelined with the ick and, you know, half the world is sidelined with the ick.
Yeah, I mean, 25,000 is the perfect amount for local crowds. You're not going to get any international audience this time around, so it's best to just prepare for locals and maybe some people like out of state who are diehard fans.
Yeah, and you don't want to go and like host this entire event and bring enough merch and have enough like refreshments for 45,000 people if not 45,000 people are showing interest in going.
Right. And if you lower the amount to 25,000, you can say that it's sold out.
Right. Which, I mean, good on them, I guess.
Yeah.
When I saw that the number, because I had seen like a couple thousand all the way up to 30,000, and then they said 45, and I was like, Jesus?
I'm glad they
That's a lot.
backtracked on that.
Yeah, for once they made a good decision. And last but not least, we have a new inductee to the Hall of Fame. It is the one and only British Bulldog, who was announced by
Natalia.
That makes sense. Because he's part of the Heart Foundation. Of course, it's posthumous, but
Posthumous.
Posthumous?
Mm-hmm. Not posthumous.
I always thought it was posthumous.
No.
Anyways. But it'll be cool because his son is just starting to get back into wrestling again. So
that's good.
Maybe we'll get to see some tie over there.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, Elizabeth is getting her second vaccination, knock on fucking wood, on the day of the Hall of Fame thing.
The Hall of Fame thing.
That thing.
That's the official name.
Do. That's what I saw on all the posters.
Alright, so matches and promos?
Yeah, I guess we could just jump right into that.
Alright. Well, again, this is
a pretty... Did not start with a match this time around.
Right. They've kind of been going by the main roster's formula, I guess SmackDown's formula, as of late, starting with a promo about the main event. We start off with Finn Balor in the ring. He says he's beaten every other challenger, starts naming them off. But he said now it's Karrion's time. And then Karrion and Scarlett both come out. Karrion gets in the ring and says the whole thing wasn't going to happen until they each settle their differences. But Finn retorts with, "You walk like a champion, you talk like a champion, but there's one thing nobody must have told you. Finn Balor is a champion." Which is weird. You would think everyone would know, just automatically. Finn said that Karrion will know what it's like to be in the main event and choke. But then Scarlett chimes in and says that, like, she hops in the ring and says, "I've seen it in the cards. 2 champions draped in gold. All happens for a reason." So 2 champions draped in gold, that's like the foreshadowing. That means 2 people with belts, which is weird because Karrion Kross doesn't have a belt, but Finn does. And then Oney, Orkin, and Danny Burch come out. Danny said that Finn should be fighting Pete Dunne. And they know Pete can beat both Karrion and Finn. And then Scarlett, with her big ass mouth, suggests that Oney and Danny put their titles on the line against Karrion and Finn, so that her prediction can come true that 2 champions draped in gold will face off. And then Oney and Danny accept. And then we go backstage before Dexter and Lumis versus Austin Theory to a little promo with Austin Theory. He's getting a video call from Johnny and Candice. He's like, "You guys aren't here. What am I going to do?" Johnny says, "It's okay. You got to go at this alone. You got this." And you notice Austin's also donning the cool way gear, like the X-Men gear. It's fucking cool.
I don't care for him looking as good as Johnny does, though.
I just love that gear. It was such a niche to
gear.
begin with, going with Nate Gray out of all the X-Men. So good. Love it.
I know that means something to you, but
and then we have Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory in a fucking great match. My god, this is a good match.
Once again, Dexter Lumis doing the Lord's work for all of us out here on this fine evening. But for a minute there, it wasn't looking like he was, actually. It was a bit of a stressful ride for Elizabeth.
They gave us a little swerve. It's okay. Swerve
We're
came
supposed to see Swerve tonight.
We were supposed to get Swerve versus Leon Ruff. Another thing that was supposed to happen tonight that we didn't get.
Yep. Strike words. Anyways, just all I know is that I'm going to blame him.
That's fair.
So Theory punches Dexter and throws him out. He then slams Dexter into the announce desk multiple times. And Dexter just gets back into the ring and like slithers a little bit. He said, "Oh, okay, sure." And then Dexter's sent into the buckle and drop kicked a little bit. Yeah, not great. Dexter gets a crossface on Theory. We get some double axe handles to Theory and then a punch to, I assume, Dexter's face. I just wrote Dexter's. As well as a backbreaker. We then get an uppercut to Loomis and a snap suplex. Loomis is then sent into the corner and clothesline. Theory manages a fallaway slam to Loomis, which is actually kind of, to say it, relatively impressive. Loomis is not like the smallest dude in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of bulky.
Yeah.
I zoned out there for a second. Loomis attempts to get the silence in on Theory a little early, but Theory elbows out of it. There's a power slam to Loomis after that breakout. You get like a massive drop elbow to Loomis. I don't know how Theory manages to get that much air. Probably all the air in his head offsetting his mask.
Oh man. You see, the best thing is that that joke could just be in relation to his kayfabe story.
Yeah. Theory goes to lift Loomis again, but Loomis manages to land over his shoulder. Theory is then caught by Loomis and thrown down into a spinebuster. We get a clothesline and a bulldog to Theory, and then a belly back suplex and a kip up that I fucking missed because I'm not allowed to watch Dexter Loomis kip up. I would probably combust. And then Loomis gets his own drop elbow on Theory, which always like his drop elbows, anything from him really where he goes up in the air and comes back down on top of you. My dream. Looks mean, looks painful as fuck. Like he looks like somebody that's got like sharp fucking elbows.
Yeah.
You went out of focus for a second. I got very like
I look away and then all of a sudden my camera unfocuses.
The camera's like, I don't see eyes, I don't know what's happening.
As soon as I unfocus, the camera unfocuses.
It's attached to your brain.
Real quick, did we get to the part with Austin's sick spine buster? Like I forget when that was, where he like kind of wrapped Dexter's legs around each other, hoisted him up.
Maybe.
I know you mentioned spine buster.
Maybe not. I think we're talking about what almost looked like a neck breaker over his leg.
Yeah, it was definitely over his leg.
Yeah.
That
was either a neck breaker, a back breaker, or a brain buster. You fucking take a pick.
I gotta be honest, that was a sick move. That was great. I can't hear what you're saying at all.
We aren't there yet. So I have been calling this the wrong thing for the last 2 podcast episodes. because I forgot the name of it. I kept calling it the lingering suplex, and I was like, I know that's not what it is, but I know like that's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Dexter goes for the stalling suplex. Theory manages to land on his feet. You then get an uppercut to Theory and a slingshot suplex that Wade calls a catapult suplex, but Wade's a goddamn idiot. Slingshot suplex. Loomis then goes off the top rope. Theory avoids him. Dexter manages to land on his feet because he's a fucking cat. Theory then gets what we were just talking about. This, like, he landed high up on his neck, so I kind of assumed it was a neck breaker. Like, in the form of a brainbuster over his leg onto to Loomis. Fucking weird. I hate Austin Theory so much because he's a horrible human being, but he does have, like, a cool fucking moveset.
Yeah.
And, like, normally I'm like, well, you know, you can kind of remove the person from the wrestling, but, like, I can't with him because he looks like, because he's, like, our age.
Mm-hmm.
I see him and I'm just like, if I met you in college, I would 100% keep, like, a 20-foot radius between us at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't trust those hands. I don't trust that head. Anyway. Okay, so we get an elbow to the face of Loomis and a hard fucking clothesline to Theory. Loomis just said, I'm fucking done with this shit. We get an attempt at a silence after what Theory perceives as, like, some brotherly love. Loomis helps him up. And then Loomis just says, you thought. Loomis is lifted. He lands on his feet and just choke slams Theory. Throws him right into a silence. I said, thank you, Captain.
I cannot wait for the takeover match between Johnny and Dexter. I can't wait.
You think that's going to happen?
Oh yeah, that's what this is culminating to. Probably not for the title. But maybe Dexter now sees this as, oh, I can get to the title now. And we just see next week Dexter has a drawing made up of just the North American Championship.
Maybe. I also just, like, want him to host again.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was a good day for everybody.
Just him sitting at the desk staring at Vic Joseph.
Oh, he'd be staring at Wade because Wade said mean things about him, remember?
Oh, right.
And Vic threw him under the bus for it.
That was so good. That was like one of the best. That wasn't even a pay-per-view. That was like one of the best episodes we've had. But after that, we have a little. It was supposed to be a little announcement from Mackenzie turned into Tommaso Ciampa walking in, saying that Thatcher isn't there, but they're still gonna have the match with Marcel. He said only one of them, or by the time the bell rings, there's only gonna be one of Imperium standing.
Wasn't really true. But, you know.
Yeah.
You lick too many boots and suddenly you start saying shit.
Well, you understood what he meant, which is that he's gonna win.
Did he... Are you going to talk about what he also said that, like, apparently he thinks that Imperium hurt Tim and that's why Tim's not there?
Yeah, I didn't hear that during this promo. I didn't hear it until the match started. But yeah, he mentioned that Imperium could have hurt Timothy Thatcher. Nobody's in bigger delusion than Tommaso Ciampa right now. It's like between Tommaso Ciampa and Austin Theory are the two biggest in delusion in NXT. But after that, we have Adam Cole out in the ring saying that he's mad at Adam Cole, that punk. Last time, before he was just trying to get rid of what was useless. Now he's just mad. He said Kyle's just jealous because he won't be as successful as Adam. But then William Regal comes out and says that because of what happened last week, Kyle hurt his neck even further, and he will further be unable to come out and into the Capitol Wrestling Center. But then all of a sudden, a video of Kyle plays on the Tron. He goes on a tirade while in his car, and the big takeaway is that he won't rest until he ends Adam. And then Adam chimes into William Regal, getting in his face, and says he will find Kyle before he finds him.
I need Bobby Fish to come back and take care of his sons like a good fucking father and not just whatever it is that he's doing right now.
Also, I do want to shout out... What?
I thought you were going to say what you always say, and I was like...
No. I wasn't going to this time.
Okay.
But I do want to shout out, since we're talking about Adam Cole, I want to shout out Britt Baker, who apparently had a fucking intense match on AEW today. Some people are saying it's the best.
Have you seen the pictures yet?
I've seen the bloodied face of Britt Baker, and I've seen the finish to that match, where like you just see on Britt Baker's back a ton of thumbtacks, and she's like in pain, like trying to get them off, but she can't reach them. Yeah, and like Rebel's just laying in the table off the side of the ring. Oh my god.
Man, Baker, honestly, like AEW's women deserve more than they get, but like this just proves it. And Britt Baker is like constantly out there doing the fucking most.
Mm-hmm. I think this is
really incredible.
I think the Women's Eliminator was a start to something amazing for the women of AEW. Say what you will about the tournament itself, but I think it's gonna open up, like, this match is the start of it. Just incredible booking for the women, an incredible roster.
I think, like, also the thing that's so silly to me is that it would be so easy for them to just make a new belt, which is one of like the most like obvious problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like without even having to watch it, that's one of the most obvious problems. It's like when you see how massive Kenny's belt is,
mm-hmm.
that's bigger than any of the WWE belts. I can tell.
I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that a lot of the women on AEW's roster, and I think a lot of AEW's roster in general, come from Japan, and Japan and Japanese promotions have very small belts. You'll notice that in like Stardom, NJPW, they just in general have small belts.
Yeah, but this isn't Japan, and Tony Khan should be taking notes from, you know, the things that he watched growing up, which I assume were the WWE, because that's what he said he watched a lot of as a child.
Yeah, but he doesn't design the belts himself.
Who the fuck else designs the belts?
Belt designers? They outsource
well, yeah,
that
but I'm
stuff.
sure he's got a say in it.
Sure.
Yeah, but like when you're making like graphics for like a website, you don't just say, "Well, here's everything I made for you. Have fun." You say, "Here's what I made. Do you like it?" And they say yes, and then you say good, or they say no, and you say, "What can I change?"
Yeah, I know, but you also need to remember that AEW is like only a year old at this point. A year and a half, maybe.
You know, listen, they've had women in their ranks for longer than the WWE had.
Yeah.
Or not. That doesn't make sense, but
they've had a women's championship much longer than, or much more early on than WWE.
Yeah. I literally, I love looking, like, because we watch old pay-per-views all the time. And it's just so funny to me to watch 2018 shit, and by funny, I mean sad, and they're like, and for the first time ever, and I'm like,
the first women's Royal Rumble.
2018, 3 years ago.
That was a bad Royal Rumble too. I did not like that Rumble.
It was bad, I think, up until the final 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the ending was good. I think, but it was just because they wanted to have all the women come back. Also, we had Vicky Guerrero.
Oh, God.
Yeah, when I hear her, I can hear my father, like, in my head saying, does she have to yell all the time? I could never, like, as a kid, I couldn't watch all that at his house because he's like, they're just screaming constantly. And now that I'm older, I'm just like, you're right.
Who's the Nyla Rose has Vicky Guerrero on her side in AEW.
Yeah, which she doesn't do as much. However, there was also a clip of Jade Cargill just sitting in the fucking stands tonight, and I was like, why can't I look like you? She's so strong.
But anyway, back to NXT.
Yeah, I guess we were also watching this.
We had an interview with Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. It's very clear that this was not supposed to happen. Robert Stonebrand walks in and they challenge them for the titles next week. I have a feeling that this was maybe supposed to be Candice and Indy, but because of COVID, they were not able to be a part of this. Or maybe Robert Stonebrand was supposed to be a part of it to kind of delay the big challenge for TakeOver. And then we had Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango. Liz, would you like to walk us through this?
No.
Okay.
Moving on. Right on. So Breezango, whatever you want to call it, versus Legado. We start with Fandango and Mendoza. We get an uppercut to Mendoza. Wild and Breeze get in shortly thereafter. There's a knee to Breeze's spine and a crossbody off the ropes to Mr. Breeze. Fandango gets back in. We get a drop kick off the back to Wild. A drop kick off the back of Wild, rather. And then a kick to the face of Fandango, and Fandango's put right into a sleeper. Mendoza gets in right off of that. Both men go up top onto the ropes. By both men, I mean Fandango and Mendoza. My notes are a little sketchy for this first half because I was a little busy.
Yep, I know you were. We're not going to say what you were busy with.
I made a fun picture. That's all I have to say about that. My friends thought it was anyway. So Fandango and Mendoza go up top on the ropes. Mendoza looks like he's wanting a superplex of some sort, but he's knocked down. Wild takes advantage to kind of distract Fandango on the apron, giving Mendoza the chance to knock Fandango upside the head. We go to commercial break. We come back. It's still Fandango versus Mendoza. Fandango sends Mendoza into the barricade, and then we get Wild and Breeze right on in the moment we're back in the ring. And there's a kick to the midsection and a drop kick to Wild. Mendoza's taken off the apron by Breeze because Breeze is just a madman unleashed. We get an elbow to Wild and a kick to the face, as well as a step up enziguri. Mendoza comes in to interfere. He gets kicked in the face. We get a single leg crab on Wild, which Wild manages to finally break out of once Breeze kind of lets up a little bit. But he gets out of it just to be thrown into a catapult that sends him over the ropes. We get a high knee. All right, we get Breeze with a high knee to Mendoza and then a high knee to Wild, who tries to attack while Breeze watches Fandango trying to fend off Mendoza. And this part was confusing for me because the way they cut in, it looked like Fandango was beating up Mendoza and Breeze was for some reason distracted by this. But that wasn't the case. Wild then tries to take advantage of this distraction, but he gets smacked in the face with the high knee. And then Mendoza breaks up the cover by kicking Breeze in the head. It was a little bit strange.
Yeah.
But anyways, Breeze goes for the unprettier on Wild, but Wild goes for the belly to belly, or the belly to back German suplex. Mendoza gets in. Wild holds Breeze as Mendoza hits him with a sliding kick to the face, and that's your match. That's your match, boys.
Yeah.
Back it up.
And then I'm going to talk about what happens after.
Yep. You're more than welcome to.
So, we finished up the match, and Jordan Devlin comes out while Santos is talking to, I guess, the commentators or something. He gets in the ring and calls out Santos. He said the real cruiserweight champion is back. And then Santos gets in the ring to respond and said that Santos has redefined what it means to be a cruiserweight. And he said that Devlin still has the title because everyone just forgot that he had it. And honestly, same vibe. And then Devlin headbutts Santos. And that's really it.
Dude, Santos was bloody. And for like a whole minute, after I had so many mixed feelings towards Santos, because like Mendoza grew on me. Wild will never grow on me because Wild looks like he needs it.
Aww.
He's my, like, I feel like every stable needs to have a captain, a doofus, and a guy who just wants to get shit done. Santos is the captain, and like every once in a while I'm like, Santos, hello.
All right, wait.
Today.
Let's play this game real quick.
Okay.
So you're gonna identify those members in stables that I mentioned. Imperium.
Okay, so the captain is obviously Walter.
Mm-hmm.
The doofus, I'd say, is Marcel. Marcel's a himbo. And the guy who just wants to get stuff done is Wolf.
Not Fabian?
He's kind of an in-betweener there. Because he's kind of a himbo, but he also does kind of keep his head down. But Wolf doesn't fucking talk, so.
Alright, then Hurt Business.
Your doofus is Cedric. The captain part kind of probably goes between Bobby and MVP, but mostly MVP, I think.
I guess you can add,
and then the guy who just...
You can add, like, a fourth position called the Enforcer.
Sure, so that would be Bobby then. And the guy who just wants to get shit done is Shelton.
Yeah. How about, let's see, what's another stable? Robert Stonebrand.
Captain is Aaliyah, doofus is Robert Stone, guy who just wants to get shit done is Jesse Camilla.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about The Way?
Well, we know who the doofus is. Your captain is probably Johnny, and the guy who just wants to get shit done. No, your captain is Candace, and the guy who just wants to get shit done is Johnny, I think.
Or the one who wants to get shit done might be Indy.
No. Ever since Dexter came into the picture, Indy has got her head in the clouds, and I do not blame that girl.
Yeah. What other stables exist? We'll say...
I'm impressed that you're missing one.
The Anoa'i family. Or I guess the Roman, Jay, and Paul.
Roman, Jay, Paul? Roman's the captain. Guy who just wants to get shit done is Paul, and doofus is Jay.
I think you could switch the Roman and Paul. I think you can switch those. I think Paul's
they're
like
kind of
captain.
interchangeable in those roles.
Roman always just wants to get shit done.
But Roman also calls the shots.
Fair. Well, what am I missing? Don't say Undisputed Era because they're not a stable anymore.
Retribution.
Oh, okay, Retribution. Which one is the doofus?
Slapjack.
Okay.
Little swaps.
Mm-hmm.
Little slapjack. Captain is Mustafa. No offense, I'm going to leave Mia Yim out of this just because I have not seen her do enough in Retribution to have any real gauge. Enforcer is Mace. T-Bar is guy who just wants to get shit done.
Yeah, that's fair, considering how much he's tried to interrupt matches to try and help Mustafa win.
And he never works.
Yeah. Are there any other stables? Why am I blanking on stables?
I guess you could say Pat and the brand.
Brand. Well, let's leave Pat out of it and just do Pete, Oney, and Danny.
Easy. Pete's the captain, Danny's the one who wants to get shit done, and Oney's the doofus.
I'd say you swap those. Swap Oney and Danny.
Really?
Oney's just
You
a
think Danny's the
doofus on
doofus?
Twitter, but in kayfabe,
True.
Oney's serious.
Okay, I'll take it. I'm still mad that the brand took him and Danny, only because I will never forget the time that back when Oney's whole thing was living under a park bench. And we got that video of Danny being like, "Hey, we gotta do stuff."
Oh.
And Oney being like, "Oh, okay." Memories. Good memories.
All right. So after that, we then had a little interview with Adam Cole. He just said when he finds Kyle, he's going to end him. And he said that's not undisputed. That is a promise. Stupid catchphrase. But then we go to a commercial break. We come back. Immediately, we get a little video package of a new member to the NXT roster, Saray, who came from Japan?
She was originally Sari, and they just said, "Well, we can change that easily."
Yeah. I don't know anything about her, but I can't imagine she'd be a bad signing. I think NXT definitely needs more Asian members to their roster.
Absolutely, and I think this is the thing that we really need to push, which we were pushing way back when, like in 2018, like when they did the Mae Young. And we got so many different women's wrestlers from so many different like reaches of the earth. And we haven't had that because Vince has been so uptight about keeping everything inside.
Right.
And I think getting more wrestlers, especially more women's wrestlers, which the thing that's like kind of annoying me now, and I hate to say this, is that the women's wrestlers are all going to NXT. Which is fine. NXT is great. I love watching it. I cannot complain about the women's division. But I can for all the other brands. And I'm like,
Yeah, I guess for some reason they feel the need to put the women wrestlers through kind of like a screening process of NXT before bringing them up to the main roster. I don't know. But great addition. That also reminds me that I can't wait until COVID restrictions are up and we can get Meiko Satomura in regular NXT.
okay, listen. Somebody has to stay in NXT UK, okay?
No. Just dissolve it.
No! God.
But then we are treated to Zoe Stark versus Dakota Kai.
Man. Life was easier when I was able to like Zoe Stark. Life was much simpler back then.
Are you gonna hate her as much as you hate Alexa Bliss?
No, that's impossible.
Okay.
Alright. We start with a wrist lock on Stark. She handsprings free of it. Takes a lot of work, though. She counters, putting Kai into a headlock. We get arm drags to Kai, and Kai is almost kind of put like in like a hammerlock submission hold. It's a little wonky. Zoe just kind of goes into wrenching the arm backwards. We get a big club and clothesline to Kai. Kai then whips Stark into the buckles before kicking her in the jaw. We get a waist lock on Stark. Kai ends up getting Irish whipped into the corner again. Gets a nasty back elbow to her face. Kai goes in with an elbow over the ropes while on the apron to Stark. Eventually, Stark ends up dodging a boot to the face and sends one of her own to Kai, who's now ringside. We get elbows to Kai, but Kai still throws Stark down. There's an attempted pump knee strike from Kai to Stark. It's avoided. Instead, we get a double clothesline, leaving both the women writhing on the ground. And it took them both off their feet. God, I've got so many notes for this. There's clothesline after clothesline to Kai, as well as a boot to the midsection. We almost get a half and half suplex, or we do, I think, to Kai, and a kip up right afterwards. Stark hits her with a sliding knee. Dakota then trips Stark into the ropes, slows her down a bit. She slides out, dragging Stark down to the mat with her. We get a knee to the face of Stark. Both ladies at this point are on the apron. There's a boot to the face of Kai. Stark can't get the suplex that she wants. And Kai, I don't really know what she was going for here. And maybe it's because I looked away at the wrong time. But Kai jumps up onto Stark, but ends up flying back into the ring. In spite of whatever she was going for failing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got a better idea of what happened there, but...
No, I didn't really have anything.
They said Stark countered, and I was like, but it looked like Stark just stood there. Kai then lifts Stark, and Stark rolls down and through on her. We get a backslide to Kai, which doesn't get the pin. So Stark ends up moving in with a knee strike and then a Death Valley driver to Miss Kai. Zoe goes up top. She gets kneed in the face. Kai pulls her limp body down and into another knee strike to win. After this happens, naturally, Io Shirai, Queen Badass of the world, comes out as a contract ready. Sidesteps Dakota, who kind of gets in her face a little bit, and Io's just like, I have no fucking time for this. Slams the fucking contract into Raquel, and then helps Zoe Stark out.
Yeah. Great setup for Io versus Raquel takeover.
Yeah. It's interesting that they're setting it up so early, though.
I like that because we get time to build tension between Dakota and Raquel, and once Raquel wins that title, it's gonna be bye-bye to that tag team.
Oh yeah. We already saw that today, so.
Mm-hmm. We were seeing some desperate moves by Dakota. But I also want to quickly add, Malcolm Bivens just tweeted 2 hours ago, Walter is here, gotta start deleting tweets ASAP.
Malcolm, no.
Oh man, I love Malcolm Bivens so much.
I'm so glad that we're getting more of him now, because I know Indus-Share is not really a thing.
They are in India, I think. I think they're starting up there.
Oh really?
Because they were at the Super, what was it?
Superstar Showdown or Super Showdown, whatever.
Well, Super Showdown's a pay-per-view.
Right, this was technically a pay-per-view.
Superstar Showdown, I think.
Was it yeah, it was something. But the thing is that it's that was more of a celebration of Indian wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the plan with NXT India is to take all of the Indian wrestlers that they have, more or less, and put them into that brand.
Right.
I have no clue. I also have not heard anything about NXT India since that pay-per-view.
Yeah. But we then have an interview with William Regal. He's interrupted by a crew member and said something happened to Adam Cole. Oh boy. We then have a promo with the grizzled young veterans, soon to be recognized. Yeah.
I want that shirt that they had on today.
What did it say? It said kill or something. Or something like that.
I don't know. Let me look it up. I don't know if that's new. I also guess I haven't looked at Grizzled Young Veterans merch in a while.
You're just going to be buying merch from everyone at this point.
This is the problem. I was talking to Miriam about this, and I was like, it's a shame that there's so many wrestlers on this mental list of mine that I want to buy all their shirts. I want to buy something from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I also it's not that expensive, but at the same time, it's there's only so much money I can, in good faith, spend on t-shirts that I can't wear to work or something. However, the Grizzly Young Veteran shirt looked soft as hell too. now.
But yeah, they said MSK's choice last week will be the worst mistake they've ever made. So they're obviously delaying MSK going for the tag title. I don't know when that will be, but it's not anytime soon. But then we move on to Marcel Bartel versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Ooh.
Liz loved Tommaso Ciampa in this match.
You think you're so funny, don't you?
I think I am, yeah.
I'm happy for you. I'd like to just... Does GYV not have any merch?
I have no clue.
I am not seeing... Yeah, I don't see anything for them. That's crazy. Anyways, I thought I had. Anywho. So yeah, we start with Marcel and what is it? It was Marcel and Fabian had come out. And it looked like it was almost going to be a tag team match. And then as they were doing their little wipe their feetsies, Tomaso came out of nowhere and slapped Fabian in the leg with a chair. So then it was Marcel versus Tomaso. Sorry, my head's not here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. So Tomaso comes in like a raging fucking bull. There's some chops to Marcel. Marcel eventually smacks him with the fucking little shark fins or whatever you want to call them. Just slicing across the neck. And then just fucking takes him down. We get Tomaso into a fucking headlock that Marcel grinds on for a minute and a half. Longer than I'd personally ever like to be in a headlock for. He manages the double underhook to Champa, who, by the way, was also wearing a Timothy Thatcher shirt, but he's just not that into you. I'm sorry. I'm not. I wish I could get one reaction out of you. Sometimes I feel like I'm just blubbering.
Most of the time.
Anywho.
I'm sorry. I was busy looking up Grizzled Young Veterans on other sites to see it. Nope. Not even on Pro Wrestling Tees. Nothing on WWE.
Yeah. Because I'm on like NXT UK. That section. Got some cool Imperium. Well, they've got like one Imperium shirt or two, but I don't know. Anyways, but Marcel goes off the ropes right into a knee from Champa. Champa clotheslines Marcel out of the ring, and then Fabian comes through and sort of saves Marcel. I think it was because Marcel looked like he was going for the Widow's Bell. But lovely little Fabian held onto Marcel's leg for dear fucking life. Marcel then dumps Champa to ringside, hits him with a dropkick. We get a clothesline to Bartel and a knee strike to Fabian. Finally, Tomaso suplexes Bartel. And I guess he wins. But does he win?
Yes.
I don't know.
Because he got exactly all of a what
sudden,
he wanted.
Fair. But then all of a sudden, the lights go out, and one blinding white light shows up at the top of the ramp.
And then the actual light turned on.
And there stood... I hope you're having fun. And there fucking stood Walter. Dude, not only have I been like desperate for him to return to NXT UK just because I've been desperate to see Walter, this was far beyond what I expected. I expected him to like announce tomorrow on NXT UK that he's like, yeah, I'll be back. I'm heading out. Nobody's really challenging me, so I don't really fucking care anymore.
Right.
But Walter is here, and Walter comes through and says, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
He chops the absolute skin off of Tommaso's chest. Tomaso at one point tries to like roll him up, like pull him down and roll him up, and Walter just stands there like, what the fuck is this guy? I'm so happy we're getting Imperium back. The boys are back together. The band is back together. Tim's gonna join them soon enough. He's gonna get to stand there with his little arms behind his little back. I actually can't put my arm behind my back because it fucking hurts. Hopefully that doesn't happen to them. And also it's important to note that what I did not remember to mention is that Marcel at one point looks into the camera while choking Tomaso out against the ropes and like screams out a message to Thatcher, like hoping that like he sees what's happening. Like, is this what you want? For a second, while I only understood it as, is this what you want, me choking your partner out against the ropes? I was like, I'm not sad about this.
Now, there are a few things we can speculate with this. For example, will the takeover match be Tommaso Ciampa versus Walter? Because that is enough to get excitement. I have been seeing a lot of excitement around that matchup alone. Or will that matchup happen sooner, and instead we get Tommaso is a way to get Walter to America. And while he's here, he says, oh, that's a shiny belt. And then challenges Finn. And maybe joins in that triple threat.
I don't see Finn... unless there's a triple threat at TakeOver for the NXT belt.
Mm-hmm.
Which is totally possible.
Yeah.
I don't see Karrion losing to Finn at this point. Not after tonight.
Well, I just meant like, well, yeah, he would look at Finn with the title and just say he wanted that, but like he would join Karrion versus Finn, because there is no way Finn is losing that title outside of a pay-per-view. There's no way. But I think the perfect way to get Karrion over as a champion is by beating both Finn and Walter. They can even protect one by having him pin the other.
Yeah, because I don't think it would be doing them a service to have Walter lose. But I could see there being a triple threat. I could see Finn eating the pin for the sake of putting Karrion over and not injuring Walter, in a sense.
Right.
I do think that your assumption for the two men draped in gold or whatever it was that Scarlett said, I do think that has something to do with that. It's got to.
Yeah, because now that Finn and Karrion lost that match, there has to be another person draped in gold. You get scared every single time the cat comes in. Every single time. It wasn't
the cat. It wasn't the cat.
What was it this time?
The plastic wrap on the window moved, and then all of a sudden, the sound of the water bowl refilling itself happened, and I was like, my brain was bouncing back and forth, and it was, I'm just a jumpy person, okay?
Anyway. Oh man. Next up we're back with William Regal. And he's going to check on Kyle. And turns out Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole are getting arrested. And Adam Cole is shouting, "He tried to run me off the road." Oh my god. And they're just shouting at each other. Kyle's leaning outside of the car. Adam Cole's like yelling while standing on the sidewalk. It's
I just loved the image of Kyle with his like stupid little head stuck out the window screaming, and I was like,
this was very much a way though to
"You're like
have
two angry dogs."
this is very much a way though to have Kyle cut a promo, like a good promo with Adam Cole without having to come into the CWC.
Without endangering Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still they had Adam Cole and Kyle at like far distances the whole time. So it was well done.
Yeah.
And the whole time William Regal's just like, what the hell?
Dude, poor Willie Reegs. He's doing his absolute best. And everyone that he is in charge of keeps trying to undermine that at every turn.
Every episode. They should have just one episode where everyone's like, you know what, William Regal's done a lot for us. Let's give him a nice surprise. Maybe his birthday or something. They bake him a cake. And
somehow that will still go horribly wrong.
All the heels, all the faces come together and throw him a nice surprise party. I think that's a great idea.
It'd be nice. Also, can I ask you a question?
No.
Why is Everrise's shirt in the NXT UK fucking section of WWE Network?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway.
I understand that they're pseudo Guidos from Canada, but they're not European.
Anyway, we then have a promo with LA Knight. He's walking through the halls of the CWC, and you just see walk behind him, Bronson Reed just eyeing him. But then we have LA Knight's debut match, LA Knight versus August Gray. Liz?
Yes. As per usual, a great, not really enhancement talent match, but intro match. Because NXT knows how to do that well. Whether it's NXT or NXT UK, they tend to always turn what would be an enhancement talent match into like a match.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so there's a kick to the midsection of Gray, and then a back elbow as Gray flies on the rebound off the ropes. We get a knee strike to Mr. Austin Gray, and then LA Knight basically like lawn darts himself over the top rope into Austin. Gray dodges a few hits, but can't manage to dodge the power slam. And then Mr. Bronson Reed comes out with LA Knight's lovely little blue jacket, which you can tell, by the way, has already been torn up in certain spots because of the way that Bronson moves. You can see it. Because I'm pretty sure it's not that easy to destroy a leather jacket. But Reed, who's obviously big guy, little coat. I know that's like a skit from like SNL or something. With what's his face? I don't know. The guy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Famous comedian. Killed himself.
I'm blanking on his name. I don't know. I'm completely blanking on his name.
Or is it Uncle Bob? It's Chris Farley.
Yeah, not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That is not Chris Farley.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of the wrong person. But wasn't Chris Farley from? Wasn't he Uncle Buck, or am I thinking of the same guy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
I don't know. I've never seen Uncle Buck.
Oh, well, that's on you. I'm thinking of John Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now that we had that moment, but yeah, he does the Chris Farley, that guy little coat,
Mm-hmm.
flexes in it, tears the whole thing up while LA Knight's just fuming in the ring. Gray takes advantage, tries to roll LA Knight up, ends up getting a few punches in on him, and a jawbreaker as well as a neck breaker. And then there's a knee to the face of Gray, and that ends that whole party, and LA Knight wins. But not without a new storyline and a vengeance.
Vengeance Day.
No, not that.
Oh, what?
That was months ago.
Yeah. It was last month, not months ago. I think that was less than a month ago.
No.
That was a little more over a month ago. Vengeance Day was Valentine's Day, which is February. It is March now.
I was thinking of New Year's Evil.
Anyway. We then have an interview with Raquel Gonzalez. She said that once she signs a contract, Io's title reign will have an expiration date. And then Dakota comes in and says that she organized a match with William Regal between her and Raquel versus Io and Zoe Stark. And Raquel was like, why would you do that when I could just have a match at any point? And Dakota's like, what did she say? I forget what she said here.
Well, Dakota basically says, like, as far as the Tony Stark, the Zoe Stark Io Shirai match, she says, I need this for me. We need this for us.
Right.
We just lost 2 matches together.
And then Raquel says, yeah, I could work with that. And then,
yeah.
That's the start. That's the beginning of the end for those two.
And you know the end's probably not going to come for a little while because Raquel's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But once she gets that title, which I'm sure she will.
Oh yeah.
Just because Io's approaching about a year with the belt.
Yeah.
I see it happening.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna have to wait like a couple of months for the dissolution of Raquel and Dakota.
Maybe. Then we get a little vignette with Xia Li, which is really nothing special. She just says, resistance will not be tolerated. And then we get a promo with William Regal. He says, everything is out of control.
The house is on fire. Willie Riggs is out.
He says, next week, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, if they're let go, which he's sure that they will report to the CWC, and he has a solution on how to fix his problem, which is probably just a match.
Yeah. Or family therapy with Bobby.
That didn't work the first. It didn't work with Kyle. It's not gonna work with Bobby. Bobby's just gonna tell them, yeah, let's go. Let's meet my friend Drake Wirtz.
You son of a bitch.
To be fair, I didn't say anything. I know they're friends. Like, that's a fact that Drake Wirtz and Bobby Fish are friends.
Well, okay, but Bobby Fish didn't know.
He knew he was friends with Drake Wirtz.
Yeah, but he didn't know that like Drake Wirtz was a Looney Tune.
You don't know that.
I do.
No,
I
you
do.
don't.
Bobby's a dumb old man.
It's very wishful thinking.
He's the only person I have from my hometown. Please be nice.
There are a lot of people from your hometown.
No one from Albany wrestles, dude.
Sure, there's somebody in AEW.
Yeah, it's actually.
There's a lot of New York people in AEW.
But most people from New York that wrestle are from Long Island or New York City.
But anyway, moving on from that, we have our main event now: Karrion Kross and Finn Balor versus Oney, Orkin, and Danny Burch for the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Also, we've looked this up before. It's literally just Bobby Fish and some female wrestler named Mickey the Quickie.
That's what they call me.
This is her picture. That's what we have. Anyways. Finn and Karrion versus Oney and Danny. So we start with Karrion and Oney first. Karrion throws Oney, and Oney looks fucking terrified. Danny gets in. There's a shoulder tackle that just flattens Danny. There's an elbow to Karrion, and then Karrion clotheslines Danny. Karrion then takes to hugging Danny Burch in his arms, while Danny tries to punch him. Then we get a power slam to Danny. Oney gets in, and Karrion suplexes both of the men, and at this point, something weird happens. I didn't catch what it was exactly. But Danny's injured. It didn't look serious because Danny was obviously like functioning and normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like he hurt his hand.
I thought it was his shoulder.
It was something in this region.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I when I saw him, I thought I saw him holding his hand. And it's one of those injuries where it's not like, oh man, he looks like he's in a bad way. But rather one of those very silent, and now we go to commercial break. When we come back, Danny's just like crouched on the ground, like talking to like one of like the trainers,
Mm-hmm.
just making faces, and I was like, oh shit, dude. So at this point, because it looks like basically what happens is Danny kind of signals that he's injured. Ref is checking on him. Karrion walks towards Finn, who suddenly, like, he had his arm out to tag in. Suddenly just kind of withdraws it, like, I think you got this on your own, buddy. Like, I'm good. He wanted no part of that. He gets in shortly thereafter, though. He takes Oney down to the mat, and Oney still looks scared shitless. Oney. My God. Oney gets the upper hand during the commercial break. When we come back, there's a knee to the midsection of Balor. Balor dropkicks Oney in the jaw and then whips him around in a nasty fucking arm drag. Just like, he may as well have thrown Oney under him as well at that point. We get a shoulder tackle to Finn and a snap suplex. There's a blow to the jaw of Finn. Oney manages to hold his own while Danny like just can't get back in. There's a jawbreaker to Oney and an uppercut to Finn, as well as a Pele kick to Oney. It's just one fucking thing after the other. Oney takes Karrion off the apron. Finn starts whipping Oney across the ring, chopping him in every corner. We get a double stomp. Oney gets taken out of the ring. There's a sling blade to Oney ringside. And then Finn sets up for the dropkick, and that's pretty much where everything starts falling a fucking apart. Oh dear God. Okay.
What?
One day I'll learn. So Finn nails the dropkick. And then he nails the dropkick so hard that he sends Oney into Scarlet. And Karrion Kross says, "That's my woman, and now I'm a caveman." It's like, great. Fucking fantastic. Kross basically slams Finn after Finn takes the pin from Oney. Karrion just fucking loses it. He shoves Finn into the barricades. We get a Saito suplex to Oney. And then a headlock on Finn, who just kind of crumples. And then Scarlet comes in and does this weird shit where she's like, "Hey, Karrion, don't kill him." I said, "That's weird." And she kind of like gently caresses Finn in the same way that like Aaliyah caressed Buddy. And I was like, I'm getting bad flashbacks. Don't feel safe. It was the PTSD from it. It threw me a little bit. Karrion listens to her for like a second before just punching Finn. And then Scarlet takes the belt, drops it over Finn, gently strokes his arm for a second, and then that's your episode, boys.
Yeah, that was it.
It was so funny because, like, going through the entire episode, I was so hyped up about 90% of what was happening, or at least fired up about what was happening, that I completely forgot that this match was even going to exist. And I think it would have been better if Danny hadn't gotten injured so early on.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, as we always say, even the weirdest episode of NXT is better than a good episode of Raw.
Yeah, that's fair. Because
And I mean, by no means was this a bad episode.
yeah, it's mostly better because you don't have to sit through an extra hour.
Dude, NXT ends and I just sit there wishing there was an extra hour.
I don't. I'd get tired.
Yeah.
All right, so best of the night. So, promo of the night.
So.
We started off with Finn Balor in the ring. Karrion comes in, etc., etc. Oney and Danny come out. This is really interesting. Not even for the Finn and Karrion part. That was neither here nor there. But the real interesting part was when Scarlett came in and started talking about the cards. I think it was really interesting that we now have this foreshadowing aspect to it, where we have like we have, as Benoit Blanc would say, we have a donut, and there is a hole in the donut. We're missing that donut hole.
God damn it.
We just watched Knives Out for the second time last night. Yeah, I really like that they're adding this extra element. I think it's a lot of fun, nice mystery. Then we have Austin Theory backstage. That was it was whatever. We had Tommaso Ciampa talking to Mackenzie. That was whatever. We had Adam Cole talking in the ring. It was alright. It mostly felt weird having Kyle just have a video played on the Tron. Then we had an interview with Ember and Schatzy. That was whatever. We had an interview with Adam Cole. That was okay. We had the Saray video package. That was good. William Regal interview before being interrupted by a crew member. That was alright. We had the Grizzled Young Vets promo, obviously from their home. That was whatever. We had William Regal
from the shared Grizzled Young Vets home.
Yeah. We had William Regal checking up on Kyle, and they're both getting arrested. So like out there that I love it. It was just so bizarre. It was great. It was better than when Becky Lynch got arrested. Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey when they got arrested.
Wish they would have kept Ronda.
Then we had an LA Knight promo that was whatever. Raquel Gonzalez interview was interesting because we get a nice hint of the future. The Xia Li vignette had nothing, and then William Regal promo at the end was alright. So, my pick's gonna be Adam and Kyle get arrested.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it, especially because it inspires what is only going to be a mental breakdown of William Regal, and I'm just absolutely here for it. Bless his soul, but he's no match for this chaos.
Yeah. It's like he becomes a wrestler again just so he doesn't have to deal with this stuff. Alright, so now we have Wrestler of the Night. Oh boy. So we start off with Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory. I picked Dexter Lumis. He is a incredibly fun wrestler to watch. Austin Theory was good too, especially with that weird like brain buster, neck breaker, spine buster, whatever you want to call it. But Dexter was just, he was great. Just seamlessly mixing story and wrestling into one character. It all fuses perfectly with him. Then we had Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango. I picked Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze, I feel like, did the most in the match. And kind of was just the most interesting. to watch in the entire match because he had to kind of juggle both Raul and Joaquin. Then we had Zoe Stark versus Dakota Kai. I picked Zoe Stark. She was good. Then we had Marcel Bartel versus Tommaso Ciampa. I picked Tommaso Ciampa. I thought he just went fucking bonkers in the ring. Just like let it all loose and just tried to smash some skulls and call it a day. I loved it. Then we had LA Knight versus August Gray. I guess I'll go with LA Knight. He had a sick power bomb. Then we had Karrion Kross and Finn Balor versus Oney, Orkin, and Danny Burch. I gotta go with Finn. Finn landed the coup de grace, the double stomp, and like didn't fall. That in and of itself is enough for Wrestler of the Night. But Finn was just great overall. Not as good as he normally is. I think this was mostly him getting beat up today.
Yeah.
But I get why he had to get beaten up. It's not like Sasha Banks and Bianca losing on Raw or on SmackDown. This is better because it builds a story, something Raw wouldn't know. All right,
Raw wouldn't understand.
so my pick for Wrestler of the Night. Can I pick William Regal? I need to wrestle with his inner demons. Or I guess his outer demons.
Oh. He had to wrestle with his willpower to not strangle Adam or Kyle.
Yeah. He probably still will, though. His solution will be, both of you have to wrestle me.
Now that's family therapy, baby. A real father.
Or no, he pulls a Shane McMahon and he's like, you have to wrestle Wade Barrett.
Wade's just like, all right, sure. I didn't know this was going to happen, but I've been waiting.
He's already got, like, he's got the Nexus gear on underneath.
Rips off the suit. It's all one piece.
Oh, man. All right, so, yeah, my pick's Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, okay. Nobody else really wowed me in quite the same way.
Yeah.
So I can't say no to that.
I also, quick shout out to Karrion Kross, just because we got a match that wasn't just like Karrion dominating. We have been getting that lately. We've been getting a Karrion that's like good at wrestling, but also he's human. Which is,
Yeah, sure.
it's something that like we didn't get early on, because whenever, like, prior to Keith Lee, he was just, you know, literally destroying everyone he fought. Even when he faced Champa at Takeover in Your House, he just destroyed him. But yeah, Dexter Lumis, Wrestler of the Night. Now, match of the night. This one's gonna be a little tough, if I'm being honest. We had Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory, which is a really, really fun match. My God, was this fun. Great wrestling. And then, yeah, add in the little story beat towards the end of Austin Theory giving Dexter Lumis a hug. And that little moment that was just swerved by Dexter Lumis, just planting Theory into the mat.
Dexter really said, yeah, no, I fucking hate you, dude.
Then we had Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango. Alright match. Would have loved to see a little bit more Fandango, but, you know, it is what it is. It wasn't a bad match.
You can take what you can get.
Then we had Zoe Stark versus Dakota Kai. That was pretty good. Dakota was a little off, but it was good. It wasn't bad.
I love these recaps. Just, yeah, it was all right.
I mean, I'm tired. I was gonna give like a legitimate reason why I'm explaining them like this, but no, I'm just tired.
Listen, I think that we got the best thing we could have gotten tonight.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of everything. And I'm It's just another one of those moments where I'm like, thank God we're watching NXT and this is happening, because otherwise this would have been a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we had LA Knight versus August Gray. A really good debut match, actually. You get those a lot in NXT. But yeah, LA Knight showed off really good moveset. I'm excited to see him wrestle a little more. He does feel he seems a little awkward. He does seem a little awkward.
Who, LA Knight?
Yeah.
He didn't quite look like he had his total ring awareness about him yet. I think he's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there was probably a lot going on. It's like
he's probably not used to the screens all around him.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult to contend with.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly we had Karrion Kross. Oh wait, no, I missed Marcel Bartel versus Tommaso Ciampa. Really good match. I liked the individual performances a lot. I especially loved the ending, but I think this is a case where the ending really made the match. The match itself was just it was decent. But Walter showing up was what made the match important.
I swear to God, if I had been there, I would have lost my shit all over the place. I would have gone absolutely bananas.
And then lastly, we have Karrion Kross and Finn Balor versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Good match. Again, like you said, would have been better if Danny Burch hadn't been injured. But we got a nice... Okay, we didn't get a dirty finish like we suspected would happen. We got a clean finish from Oney. And really proving that they can be like good tag team champions. But we also didn't have them cleanly pin Finn in a way that makes him look bad because he just gotten beaten up by Karrion Kross.
You know what they're doing?
What?
And I don't think this is intentional, but they're proving that they can do the Sasha Bianca storyline in one way or another the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
Where Finn and Karrion didn't look like schmucks, but the people with the titles didn't look like schmucks either.
Yeah.
Somehow what felt like to me as a no-win situation suddenly played out, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Does that make Scarlett Reginald?
Maybe.
Or,
Maybe.
Or is Pete Dunne Reginald?
I'm going to say Scarlett for now.
Okay. So picking match of the night, man, I just the one match I had just so much fun watching. It was Dexter Lumis and Austin Theory. That was just so much fun. Like I wasn't as excited watching the main event as I was watching Dexter and Theory.
I just want Dexter Lumis to slither toward.
Okay. I'm gonna say that's your pick.
Yeah, I really like that match. Mostly for Dexter, but there's something about Dexter Lumis's fighting that I am never getting tired of. It's like incredible how every time, and he can do the same moves, it's just every time he does them, I'm just like, Jesus, how did you not hurt him?
Yeah, it's because he really knows how to follow through with his moves, and he just loves to take hits.
And he's a really unique wrestler, and I love watching him. I really do.
And like he's like stiff, but not like stiff to where it's awkward. He's like robotic stiff.
Right. And I think that massive tattoo on his arm kind of helps the matter.
Yeah. And the gloves. The gloves really help.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you.
Alright, so to run it back, our promo of the night, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly get arrested. Wrestler of the night, Dexter Lumis. Match of the night, Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory. Liz, before you close out the show, before people leave because we're closing out the show, I just want to say, tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the Universal Pokemon Federation YouTube channel because a new episode will be premiering tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will not want to miss it. I wanted to get that out before you all left. Yeah, don't miss it. If you love wrestling and or Pokemon, go check it out. Anyway, Liz.
Alright. Now that I've flexed my mouth. If you tuned in tonight, thank you for tuning in. I love when people tune in. Makes me happy. And if you tuned in the future, happy first day of spring?
Easter.
Doesn't the first day of spring fall on March 21st?
I have no clue.
I think it does.
I think it's in April.
Is it April 21st?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, looks like. Shit. Happy Easter, I guess. I don't know. We'll find a new holiday to celebrate.
Happy Fastlane.
Nope. Nope.
Happy Taxes Day.
Happy April Fool's Day, you little fool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't sound so sad.
All right.
Anyways. Nope. Not yet.
I know.
Please tune in on Friday for our SmackDown post show. It'll be an episode of a podcast. I can guarantee that much.
And Fastlane
Furthermore,
predictions.
fuck you. I was about to get those words out. I wanted to say it. I've been thinking about saying it all night because I remembered it this time.
It sounded like you were gonna move on. That's why I had to say it.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I was about to say it. Anyways, please tune in on Friday for our Fastlane predictions. I can almost guarantee I know exactly what we're both predicting because it's almost pretty fucking obvious. Because this is a throwaway pay-per-view just to test for bugs before they do WrestleMania, and I, for one, am not excited. We're losing sleep for what?
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Really? You're excited for Fastlane?
It's got a good card. Alexa and Randy, Apollo and Biggie, Drew and Sheamus.
I hope. Well, yeah, I guess, we are technically potentially getting the Fiend back, so there is something to be excited about. Alright. I'm like a little excited, I guess.
We'll be getting Brock back too. Guaranteed. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to know why you talked to him, but fair enough. Alright, go ahead. Have fun.
Thank you all for watching. If you all enjoyed, hit that follow or subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, check out our YouTube where we put all of our episodes after we're done with them live. If you missed part of this show or want to check out the previous shows, they're all there. That's the Pinfall podcast on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out the live show, twitch.tv/the Pinfall podcast. We can talk to you live, stuff like that. And our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. I am at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And again, check out the Universal Pokemon Federation tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching on YouTube tomorrow, it's today. All right. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And we'll see you on Friday for SmackDown and Fastlane predictions.